Here's something that should genuinely stop you in your tracks. Your kidneys could be quietly failing right now, this very moment, and you would have absolutely no idea. They don't ache. They don't throb. They send up no red flag at all. That's what makes kidney damage so dangerous, and so different from almost everything else in your body. By the time it finally turns up on a routine blood test, a huge slice of your filtering power may already be lost, permanently. But here's the part that flips the whole story around: a lot of the real damage, and a lot of the real healing, doesn't happen during your busy day. It happens overnight, while you're fast asleep. And the food you reach for in that last hour before bed might quietly tip the scales one way or the other. You already know the standard advice by heart. Drink more water. Cut down on salt. And look, both of those count. But they're only a sliver of the whole truth. The real story, the part almost nobody bothers to explain, plays out in the dark, in the quiet hours after you shut your eyes. So tonight, instead of handing you the same worn-out tips, I'm going to give you something far more useful. I'll walk you through specific fruits you can enjoy in the evening that may actually help protect those filters while you sleep. A few you'll see coming. A few will genuinely surprise you. And one of them is a fruit that plenty of people with kidney trouble have been told to avoid completely, for a reason I'll break down honestly, because the truth about it is more layered than you've been told. Stick around to the end, because I'll close with a simple 2-minute bedtime drink that folds the safest and most effective of these into a single glass. But before that first fruit, I want to talk directly to anyone watching who's afraid they've already left it too late. Please take this in. It's true that kidneys can't rebuild what they've already lost. I won't pretend otherwise. But the pace of that decline, that can very often be slowed down enormously, sometimes nearly to a standstill, with the right daily habits and the right medical care behind you. People pull this off every single day, working right alongside their doctors. So this video isn't here to scare you. It's here to hand a little control back to you. The whole reason this channel exists is to help you live longer, stronger, and healthier, well past the age everyone told you to ease off. So let's talk about your kidneys, and let's actually make the whole thing make sense. Here's what there's simply never time for in a 10-minute appointment. Every kidney you own is filled with roughly 1 million microscopic filters called nephrons. And sitting at the heart of each one is a small cluster of blood vessels called a glomerulus. That cluster is the true filter, the part that strains waste out of your blood while holding on to everything worth keeping. And here's the fact that makes all of this so pressing: you come into the world with every nephron you'll ever have. They never regenerate. So once you cross 60, the entire game turns into guarding the ones you've still got left. Two things wear those filters out faster than nearly anything else, and both are easy to imagine. The first is pressure. Each time your blood pressure runs high, it batters those delicate vessels, like water shoved through a hose that's been turned up far too high, over and over, year after year. Given enough time, that constant pounding scars the filters closed, one after another. The second is oxidative stress, which is really just a technical name for a slow, internal rusting taking place inside your cells. The exact same kind of process that turns a cut apple brown on the kitchen counter. A kidney trapped under both high pressure and heavy oxidative stress is a kidney quietly shedding filters every year that passes. Now here's the part hardly anyone ever mentions, and it's the entire reason for this video. Your blood pressure was never designed to stay flat all day and all night. In a healthy body, it drops by somewhere around 10 to 20% while you sleep. Doctors call this nighttime dipping. And it works like a recovery window, those valuable hours when the pressure finally comes off the filters and lets them rest. Here's the catch, though: people whose pressure fails to dip properly at night, sometimes called non-dippers, tend to lose kidney function faster. That's solid, well-established science, not some hunch. So the goal of everything you eat in that final hour becomes simple. Help your pressure make its natural drop, cool down the internal rusting, and don't pile a heap of extra work onto your kidneys just as they're trying to clock off for the night. Every fruit I'm about to hand you does one of three jobs during that overnight stretch. It delivers antioxidants that scrub away the rusting and guard those filters. It carries plant compounds that loosen your blood vessels so your pressure can fall the way it's meant to. Or it works further up the line, on your gut, your uric acid, or your urinary tract, taking a load off before it ever reaches the kidneys. And nearly all of them are low in sugar and mild enough to eat at night. I say nearly, because there's one major exception, and I'll level with you completely when we get to it. Let's dive into the first one. First up is blueberries, and this is one of the strongest backed picks on the whole list, so it's where we start. What gives a blueberry that deep blue shade is a family of pigments called anthocyanins. And anthocyanins sit among the most powerful antioxidants ever discovered in food. For your kidneys, that's a direct benefit. Think back to the rusting, that oxidative stress scarring the filters. Anthocyanins are precisely the compounds that help stamp it out. In one study after another, diets loaded with these berry pigments line up with lower inflammation and healthier blood vessels. And since your kidneys are essentially an organ made of blood vessels, guarding the vessels means guarding the filters. There's a second, quieter reason blueberries claim an evening slot. They're low in both potassium and sodium, which makes them one of the few fruits that stay gentle even on kidneys already under pressure. Tuck that away, because potassium storms back later in a way that truly matters. Here's how to use them at night. A small handful, about half a cup, on their own or stirred through a little plain yogurt. Frozen performs just as well as fresh, and frozen berries are often harvested riper, so their pigment content runs high. Keep it modest. Half a cup gives your kidneys the antioxidant boost thereafter, with hardly any sugar, right as your filters settle in for the night. Second is a fruit almost nobody would consider eating at night, and one that most people have entirely misjudged. Cranberries. The average person only ties cranberries to one thing, that sharp juice you grab when you feel a urinary infection brewing. And they're not wrong, but they're stopping at the surface. Here's the deeper reason cranberries deserve a spot in a kidney video. They hold special compounds, a certain type of proanthocyanidin, that seem to make it physically harder for particular bacteria to latch onto the lining of your urinary tract. That's not some old wives' tale, that's the actual proposed mechanism. And it matters for your kidneys in particular, because urinary infections that travel upward are one of the genuine ways otherwise healthy kidneys get worn down over a lifetime. Every infection you block down low is stress you keep away from the kidneys up high. Beyond that, cranberries come packed with the same antioxidant family we just talked through, so they're calming oxidative stress at the same time. Their only real drawback is how sour they are. The move here is to walk right past the sugary cranberry cocktail, which is basically soda dressed up, and reach instead for a small spoonful of unsweetened dried cranberries or a splash of pure, unsweetened cranberry juice thinned with water. A little stretches a long way, and it's a smart, gentle thing to run through your system overnight. Third is red grapes, and the color truly is the entire point, so grab the red and purple ones, not the green. The skin of a red grape is packed with resveratrol, a plant compound that's grown into one of the most studied molecules in the whole field of aging research. For your kidneys, resveratrol does two useful things at once. It settles inflammation, and it helps your blood vessels relax and open up, which is exactly what you want unfolding as your body tries to let its pressure fall for the night. Loosened vessels mean a smoother, lower nighttime pressure, and lower nighttime pressure means less grinding on those tiny filters while you sleep. Grapes toss in a quiet bonus that suits this video perfectly. They naturally carry a small amount of melatonin, the very signal your brain fires off to tell your body it's time to rest. It's nothing close to a sleeping pill's dose, but a fruit that gently steers you toward deeper sleep is a fruit that helps your pressure take its proper nighttime dip. Good sleep and a healthy nighttime pressure are really just two faces of the same coin. Now, one honest caution. Grapes are sweeter than the berries, so portion is the whole ballgame here. This is not a fruit to eat by the bowlful at night. Roughly 10 to 15 red grapes is a sensible evening serving, eaten whole, skin and all, because the resveratrol lives inside that skin. A trick I'm a fan of is freezing them. Frozen grapes take longer to eat and feel like a genuine dessert, which keeps you clear of the actual ice cream. Fourth is the humble apple, and it looks after your kidneys through a side door most people never even consider: your gut. An apple is one of the finest sources going of a soluble fiber called pectin. When that pectin lands in your gut, it feeds the good bacteria living there. And a calm, well-fed gut releases far less inflammation up into your bloodstream. That matters, because your kidneys filter everything moving through that bloodstream. A gut that's quietly inflamed all day pours low-grade stress into the kidneys. The apple repairs the upstream end of that pipe. There's even a name for this ongoing conversation between your gut and your kidneys, the gut-kidney axis, and it's one of the most exciting corners of kidney research right now. And there's even more tucked in the skin. An apple's skin carries quercetin, an antioxidant shown to protect blood vessels and tamp down inflammation. Peel the apple and you toss most of that in the trash, so eat it whole. And like the blueberry, the apple is low in potassium, which keeps it on the safe list for almost everyone. A medium apple in the evening is ideal, and a slightly tart type, like a Granny Smith, carries a bit less sugar and even more of that good fiber. If you want it to feel like a treat, slice it up and dust it with real cinnamon. Eat it an hour or two before bed, so the fiber has time to get to work before you lie down. Up to now, every fruit has been quietly pulling the same weight, cooling the rusting and softening the pressure, and we're only halfway home. The next four are where it gets truly interesting, including one that does something for your kidneys none of the others can pull off, and one that plenty of people have been told to steer clear of entirely. Quick favor before I carry on. If this is the first time anyone has actually spelled out why your kidneys need support at night, rather than just chanting drink water and cut salt, do me a favor and hit subscribe and give this video a like. And if you've got someone in your family living with high blood pressure or diabetes, the two biggest drivers of kidney trouble there are, send this right to them, because this is exactly the conversation there's never enough time for at the doctor's office. Alright, fifth is tart cherries, and this is the night's first real eye-opener, because it does something for your kidneys that nothing else on this list can. Most people know cherries as a sweet summer treat. Tart cherries are a whole different creature, and they're a quiet kidney guardian for one specific reason: uric acid. Uric acid is a waste product your kidneys are forced to strain out. When it climbs too high, it does genuine harm. It builds the crystals behind gout, it's a leading driver of kidney stones, and high uric acid all on its own is now tied to faster kidney decline. Studies show tart cherries can help pull uric acid levels down in the blood. That's a direct, measurable kindness to the exact organ doing all the filtering. And tart cherries suit the bedtime theme better than nearly anything else here, because they're one of the richest natural food sources of melatonin anywhere. This is honestly the sleep fruit. The same melatonin that helps you drop into deeper sleep is helping your blood pressure finish its full nighttime dip, which, as we keep circling back to, is the kidney's recovery window. Lower uric acid and deeper sleep, both from one small fruit right before bed. It's practically built for this slot. Take them as a small spoonful of unsweetened dried tart cherries, or a splash of pure, unsweetened tart cherry juice cut with a little water, about an hour before bed. Give a wide berth to anything labeled cherry cocktail or cherry flavored, which is basically just sugar. The real, tart, unsweetened kind is the one that actually delivers. Sixth is strawberries, and they earn their place for the same reason blueberries do, with a couple of extra perks of their own. Strawberries are brimming with antioxidants, including a strong one called ellagic acid, along with a hefty dose of vitamin C. Together, they aim straight at the oxidative stress grinding down your filters. They're also genuinely anti-inflammatory, and chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the engines pushing kidney disease forward year after year. Strawberries help take the heat out of that fire. For a fruit that tastes like dessert, that's serious work. Here's the piece that fits this video so well. Strawberries are mostly water and fiber with very little sugar, which makes them one of the lightest, gentlest things you can drop into your stomach at night. You get a real antioxidant hit without spiking your blood sugar and without something heavy sitting there while you're trying to sleep. They're also fairly reasonable on potassium for most people, though not quite as low as blueberries. So if your kidneys are already compromised, keep the portion small. Around half a cup to a cup of fresh strawberries in the evening, sliced on their own or with a spoon of plain yogurt. If you want a touch more sweetness without any added sugar, a small shake of cinnamon handles it. Simple, light, and exactly the kind of thing your kidneys welcome as they settle in for the night. Seventh is pineapple, and this is the one hardly a soul thinks to eat for their kidneys. Pineapple carries a secret weapon. It's one of the few common fruits that holds a natural enzyme called bromelain, and bromelain is a genuine anti-inflammatory. It helps quiet the sort of widespread, low-grade inflammation that slowly wears at the filters over time, and it eases the digestive load, which means a bit less work traveling up to the kidneys overnight. On top of the bromelain, pineapple hands you a big dose of vitamin C and other antioxidants, that same protective crew we keep coming back to. And here's what makes pineapple a smart night choice. It's actually lower in potassium than most people would guess for something this sweet and tropical, which drops it onto the friendlier side of the list for kidneys already working overtime. It's also mostly water, so it hydrates without weighing you down. Pineapple's one catch is sugar, since it's among the sweeter fruits, so portion matters. About half a cup of fresh pineapple chunks in the evening is plenty. Fresh or frozen beets can by a mile, because canned pineapple is usually swimming in added syrup that wipes out the whole benefit. A few cold chunks an hour before bed feel like a treat while sending that bromelain to work as you sleep. Eighth is the surprise I promised you, and it's citrus. Oranges and their relatives. This is the one fruit plenty of people with kidney worries have been told to keep away from, and I need to spell out both sides of this honestly, because the truth genuinely runs in two directions. Here's the good side, and it's a real one. Citrus fruits are among the finest sources of a compound called citrate. When citrate passes through your kidneys, it binds to calcium in your urine and helps stop it from clumping into stones. In plain terms, citrate is one of your body's own natural defenses against kidney stones, and citrus keeps it topped up. On top of that, oranges are stuffed with vitamin C and antioxidants that battle the same oxidative stress as everything else on this list. For someone with healthy kidneys and a history of stones, citrus can be genuinely protective. So why the warning? Citrus is high in potassium. And this is the single place in this entire video where I have to stop and get completely serious with you. For healthy kidneys, potassium is no problem whatsoever. Healthy kidneys clear the surplus with ease, and potassium actually helps bring blood pressure down. But for kidneys that are already failing, in the later stages of chronic kidney disease or on dialysis, those kidneys can't clear potassium properly, and it can build up in the blood to dangerous, even life-threatening levels. So here's the rule. If you've been diagnosed with kidney disease, or you're on a medication that affects potassium, do not add oranges, bananas, or any high potassium fruit until you've asked your own doctor whether it's safe with your specific numbers. For most people watching, citrus is a healthy nighttime choice. For some, it's exactly the wrong one, and only your own blood work can tell you which group you belong to. If your doctor has cleared you, a few segments of orange in the evening, or half of one, is a bright, citrate-rich way to round off the day. Now, before I hand you the bonus recipe, I need to draw a firm line, honestly and plainly. These fruits can support healthy kidneys and mild, early strain as part of an overall healthy diet. They are not a treatment for kidneys already in trouble, and they're no replacement for real medical care. If you spot swelling in your legs, ankles, or around your eyes, foamy or bubbly urine, blood in your urine, a sudden drop in how much you're urinating, or pain in your back or side below the ribs, those aren't fruit problems. Those are see a doctor problems, and soon. And if you already carry a kidney disease diagnosis, or you're on dialysis, or you take blood pressure or potassium-affecting medication, only work these fruits in with your doctor's blessing, especially the citrus, because of the potassium. Food is the foundation. It is not the whole house. Let me sketch out a general picture of how this so often unfolds, the kind of pattern that turns up again and again in people past 60. Imagine someone who feels perfectly fine, stays active, and then discovers on a routine blood test that their eGFR, the number used to gauge how well the kidneys are filtering, has slipped just into the range doctors begin watching. And their creatinine, a waste product that rises when the filters start lagging, has ticked up. It's a common shock, precisely because kidney decline is so silent. In cases like that, a doctor often won't reach for a prescription straight away. They start with blood pressure and with evenings. Swapping the late-night salty crackers or bowl of ice cream, eaten right as the kidneys are trying to slip into their recovery window, for something gentler, like a small serving of low-potassium fruit an hour before bed. Adding a short walk after dinner, because putting the muscles to work helps bring blood pressure down. The realistic goal in a situation like that isn't to reverse the loss, because kidneys don't regrow what's gone, and I want to be honest with you about that. The realistic goal is to hold the line, to slow or halt the decline and steer blood pressure into a healthy range. For an aging kidney, holding steady over the years is genuinely a win. It's about handing those filters their night shift back. Now, the bonus I promised, the simple bedtime drink that pulls the safest and most helpful of these into one glass. Call it the Bedtime Kidney Tonic, and it takes about 2 minutes. Into a blender, add a small handful of blueberries, about a quarter cup. Drop in 4 or 5 sliced strawberries. Add a splash, just a splash, of pure unsweetened cranberry or tart cherry juice, for the urinary and uric acid benefit. Pour in about half a cup of plain, unsweetened kefir or plain yogurt, which brings probiotics for that gut-kidney connection we talked about, plus a little water to loosen it. Finish with a small shake of real cinnamon. Blend it smooth. That's it. It's low in sugar, low in potassium, and rich in exactly the antioxidants your kidneys want overnight, and it gives you something to reach for at night that's working for your filters instead of against them. Sip it about an hour before bed, in place of the salty snack or bowl of ice cream that used to wreck your whole night. Let me give you a couple of easy variations, so you don't get bored, because the version you actually stick with is the version that helps. On a night you're craving something sweeter, drop in a few red grapes before blending. If your stomach gets touchy at night, leave the kefir out and just use water with the berries. And if you'd rather skip blending altogether, you don't have to. A small bowl of blueberries and sliced strawberries with a spoon of plain yogurt does most of the same work. The tool isn't the blender. The tool is the swap, trading the late-night salt and sugar for the fruit. And notice I left the orange out of the blended recipe on purpose, because of the potassium issue we walked through. If your kidneys are healthy and you've been cleared, keep citrus as a separate daytime treat. Build the tonic from the low-potassium fruits, so it stays safe for the widest number of you. So here's exactly what to do tonight. 5 simple steps. 1. Close the kitchen a little earlier. Try to make the last food of your night one of these fruits instead of something salty or sweet, so your kidneys begin their recovery window with less to clean up. 2. Pick one low-potassium fruit that's already in your house, blueberries, strawberries, or an apple, and eat a small portion about an hour before bed. 3. If you want the full effect, make the Bedtime Kidney Tonic. Blueberries, strawberries, a splash of cranberry or tart cherry, plain kefir, and a shake of cinnamon. 4. Add a 10-minute walk after dinner. It helps bring your blood pressure down, and your blood pressure is one of the single biggest levers you hold over your kidneys. 5. If you've been diagnosed with kidney disease, or you're on blood pressure or potassium medication, write down one question for your doctor this week: which fruits are safe with my potassium levels? That one question protects you, and it tells you exactly which of these are truly yours to enjoy. Eating the right fruit at night is one powerful lever. But there's another one that most people over 60 have never had checked: a single number on a standard blood test that can quietly predict kidney trouble years before your creatinine ever moves, and one that usually slips by unmentioned unless you specifically ask for it. In the next video, I'll tell you exactly what that number is, how to request it by name, and what to do if yours is starting to drift in the wrong direction. Until then, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.